Hello and welcome to yet another edition of the Hockey Republic. My good name is George Njuguna, and with me is the Secretary General of Kenya Hockey Union, Mr. Wycliffe Ongori. Karibu sana, Wycliffe.
Asante sana, George. Asante sana.
Good stuff. And of course, the usual gang member, Simonski. How are you, my brother?
Unajua ukiniita gang member naonekana ni kama mimi ni mwizi.
You're a member of a gang.
Which one? The Hockey KE
No,
one?
that's what he has called it, not me.
Yes, I'm doing well, Jugush. Nashukuru God. Another week, another show, and of course, looking forward for this discussion.
Sorry, internet just decides to misbehave the last minute. I don't know what's going on. Probably it's the word probably I use the word gang, and you're not in we are not in any gang between me and you, so that is why
Inaonekana tuteka till number ama namba ya simu hapa chini watu wakuchangie bundles.
nichangie bundles. Yeah. My ISP has just decided to misbehave quarter to the show, so but we must apologize for beginning 10 minutes late, 15 minutes late. We are really sorry. Technical issues, but nonetheless we are here. Simon, you want us to kick?
Yes, let's start with the league results for the weekend. I think also today we had some league matches. Do you have them on screen?
Yes, not on screen, but I have them here because I haven't received all the match sheets. I only have one, beginning with the one Wycliffe was umpiring this evening. That was between Sailors and Strathmore. 3 goes to 2, and then earlier on at 2 p.m. I was at Dashmet Stadium, and US Simba or Sikh Union that has defeated that, and yeah, those are the one that was Strathmore, but I don't have that one.
Yeah, Daikyo Heroes won 1-0 the Mombasa Derby. It was a wonderful derby. Daikyo Heroes won 1-0. Let me just share the screen so that we can look at the weekend results quickly. So as you can see there, we had a very interesting derby on Sunday, the Breweries Derby. I'm sure Wiki is smiling where he is right now.
Why?
Yes, anaficha camera sasa asionekane.
No, the screen is not clear. The screen is not clear. That's why I'm trying to put it at an angle. I don't run away from something.
So
we are talking about Wazalendo and Park Road. Is it Badgers?
Yes.
Yeah, no, that one, of course, I'll always be happy. And you know where my allegiance is. But you know, all those are my teams. So sometimes you feel bad for Park Road. Sometimes such is life.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, that one is also Simon's team.
I know. Apparently, Simon and I have something in common. We were both we've both been at Wazalendo and Park Road.
Yes. So a shocking result there was Wazalendo beating Park Road Badgers 5-1 on the
That's
Sunday.
The highest result we've received.
That's the highest result.
Yeah.
Yes. And we had a top of the table clash there. Sharks being beaten by Kenya Police 2-1. On Saturday, we had USIU playing against Butali 1-0. And Jugush, you can see there that Butali and Kenya Police are really trying hard to keep the pace at the top of the table. And remember, at the same time, we have teams like Wazalendo who are also trying to get at the top. And having that result from Police against Sharks, it's a major boost for them. We are going to have a look at the tables, although since we don't have all the results, it might not be the accurate table. In the Super League men, we had the following fixtures. On Sunday, we had the Youngsters drawing 1-1 against Nakuru. We had Jaquat playing out a 2-0 win against MMU. Mvita were beaten 3-1 at home by KCA University. We had Sikh Union, who lost to KU at home 2-1. On Saturday, we had Mvita beating 2-1, MMU losing to KU 3-0, and then we had Parklands being beaten 4-3 by Sikh Union. That's the Parklands derby. So as you can see, there are good weekend from the KU side.
Actually, yeah, I was going to comment about that win at Sikh Union. It's quite impressive.
Yeah,
but you know, if you ask me today, KU is benefiting from their coach. What is his name again?
Wandera.
Richard.
Yeah.
Richard has managed to put in place some discipline and and you can see some order in the game. And you know, he has been around the national setup, so I can see some order and some good results coming through.
Yeah, true. Awesome. And this is the first time a team is getting 3 points from Dashmesh.
Exactly.
I watched today. MMU really struggled. They had a very good game, but their finishing was just poor, and that cost them the match.
I can understand.
Yeah, true. We also had a high scoring game there. The Parklands Derby, that is Parklands Sports Club, losing 3-4 to Sikh Union. It seems that Parklands score but also concede. Should they be looking at keeping clean sheets if they want to go higher up the table and probably secure their place back in the Premier League, Wiki?
I think so. I actually had a chat with one of the players immediately for that match, and he told me that at some point Parklands were leading 3-1. I think that was the third quarter, and I think they just collapsed somehow, and they conceded 3 very quick goals. I think they need to sort out their defense.
Okay. Yeah. Njugush, Sikh Union suffering fatigue on Sunday, considering they played on Saturday. That's why they lost to KU.
I really don't think so, because I watched their game today again, and I believe this has been their format, playing at home. They change their players really good to get into the pitch. That changing of players, once a player plays a certain minutes, they change, and it's really been good. So I don't think it was just fatigue. I think KU has started a winning trend. This is their third win this season, and so they are out to prove themselves that if they are not king of the Super League, then they they are considered among the top, and that's one thing that I think is really important for them. It's good that at least we are seeing that win for them, and they're back to their winning ways.
Okay. In the National League men, we had, as of course we've mentioned today, Daikyo beating Mombasa West 1-0 in the Mombasa Derby. We are yet to get all results for today's matches, but once we get them, we are going to highlight them on the show. On Sunday, we had Mombasa West getting a walkover against Karate. Kitale beating Nandi Hawks 1-0 at home. On Saturday, we had Daystar drawing out 2-2 against Thika Rovers. The Daikyo Heroes getting a walkover against Karate. Gorillas drawing out 1-1 against Nairobi Chapel, and Bungoma Farmers losing at home 2-0 to Blue Pirates. Now, Wiki, Karate, what happens to a team, for example, like Karate, who does not honor their match? Any sort of sanction, punishment for such a team?
I'll tell you. First, Karate wrote to the union and requested that their games are postponed. Actually, the reason they gave was they didn't have funds. So, of course, the union wrote back and told them by the time you joined the league, it was expected that you knew that you will travel. And we cannot allow you to just say that you will not travel for matches. To that extent, of course, the matter will be pushed or will be forwarded to the Match and Fixtures Committee, where they will deliberate and take appropriate action. But when I read the book that we have for rules and regulations, let me just get it. It's clear about not honoring matches. Yeah, I'm just trying to get to the detail, if you allow me.
That's okay. As you get it,
There's
Simon, I know it's very interesting to see another team which is going down the drain, Bungoma Farmers. I don't know what's happening. I'm going down there sometime this June, so I hope to see one of their games, whether away or home, just to see what's going on that side. But nonetheless, pretty sad to see a team that really rose up very well. And right now, teams like Blue Pirates and the rest are trying to, outwit them, and
Yes.
they're not doing that they're worth it anymore. Yeah. Wiki, I don't know if you've got it.
I'm just trying to figure out. Just give me another 1 minute.
Okay, that's good. Maybe we can go to the ladies Super League.
Yeah, we can proceed to the ladies.
Yeah.
We did not have any Premier League matches because all the matches this weekend were cancelled to allow for the national women's team to train and to continue with their training camp. And most of the players are for those teams, that is Strathmore, the likes of Blazers, USIU, are involved in the national team setup. And also the unavailability of UON as well as MMU. So most of those. Sorry?
And UOE.
And UOE, yes. Yeah, so it prompted the fixtures to be called off, and they will be rescheduled later this year. On Sunday, we had in the Super League Women, we had MSC playing out a 4-0 win at home against Vikings. That's a very good result from MSC. We have Nairobi Chapel losing 1-0 to JKUAT. On Saturday, we have MMU losing 3-0 to KU.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gotten the section. If you're okay.
Yeah, yes. That's fine.
So a team which fails to honor fixture shall be fined 15,000 and lose the match on the 5-0 basis. Yeah, the fine must be paid before the next fixture, otherwise the team shall be considered as having withdrawn from the tournament or league.
So in total they are supposed to pay 30,000 because they missed 2 games.
If we go by the letter of the law, yes, that is what they're supposed to pay. But remember, they are written to say that they are unable to travel. So it depends on what the match and fixtures will consider and what they'll come up with. But I've just read the law, what the rules and regulations have stated. Of course, the rules are there to try and avoid such circumstances. Otherwise, the league will never end. You can imagine if you allow one team not to travel, what every other team will tell you. We are unable to travel. But remember, when you joined the league, you knew that there will be travel. So here we are. Let's wait and see what the match and fixtures committee will do.
Okay.
Good. Simon, you want us to switch gears?
Yes, we are switching gears. I'd like you to take over. I'm just being informed that unfortunately our stream is not yet live on Facebook. So as you continue the discussion with Wiki, I'll try to sort it out at the back end. Yeah.
Okay, good. Wiki, let's pick it up, or rather continue with the Premier, the league this year. Probably let you begin by telling us your overview look, or rather what you feel about this league, the return, and what are you seeing as the positives about it?
Thanks, and Jigush, or is it George? The league resumed after about 2 years of inactivity, and the initial craze is that there was excitement with fans coming back to watch some exciting matches. And City Park was full, I think, the first 2-3 weekends. From a technical side, when you look at teams, I can tell you that most teams actually took a break. So they've been struggling to get their footing. Yeah, so you'll see some Premier League teams miss some sitters. Some design of play is not quite there. Match fitness was not quite there, and of course it's expected, because if you took a break, 2 years is a long time. The human body is not the same in a period of 24 months. But credit to them. Like today, we did a match, Strathmore and Sailors. You can see there is much fitness coming in. You can see a lot of tactical and technical astuteness coming through. You can see a lot of physicality, meaning that now the teams are physically fit. What do I anticipate to see going forward? I anticipate the league to get a bit juicier as we go forward, especially the top 4-5 teams. That is Butali, Police, Wazalendo, Strathmore, and Western Jaguars. Remember, Western Jaguars, for one reason or the other, they've been winning tournaments, or they were winning tournaments, and suddenly they are second. The last time I looked at the fixtures, they're second last. Yeah. So I expect them to put their house in order. And I can tell you, once we are done with the first leg, the second leg will be bad news in the Premier. On the ladies' side, again, you see Blazers are struggling. Again, probably because they lost sponsorship from Telcom, because they are former Telcom. Strathmore is, as usual, consistent. Which team has come through? Is it Wolverines or Amira? One of those two teams has come through. And unfortunately, Sliders and Vikings are not doing very well. I expect again going to the next leg, second leg, to see some good traction coming through and teams getting much fit. And now with the impetus of the national team ladies, now that they'll be done with the Commonwealth, I expect some good hockey to be played. I don't know whether you want me to go into national. I think the Premier is good enough.
Yeah, and talking about the structure, regarding the National League, we can talk about it in the sense that it's off City Park. So we've seen, of course, the division of the two zones, the Eastern Zone and the Western Zone.
Yes.
Are we expecting to see more teams coming on board? I know we'll talk about it when we're dealing with the counties, but how is this seeing this come up? Seeing more teams now being able to join the league and play?
Actually, I'll tell you, we are more than excited at the union because of exactly what you've said. When you are able to split the league into Western and Eastern zones, it means that there is interest and there is growth. Like this season, we got Kisii Falcons coming through.
Yes.
Yeah, we've had Nandi Hawks who've been around with us. We had UOE coming through. And it tells you, even Blue Pirates coming on board, it tells you that there is excitement about the sport. On the eastern side, of course, we have the Mombasa teams, and they're doing great work. I can tell you, Daikyo can't wait to be promoted to the Super League. They are so set. Actually, when you look at them, you realize that they want to get to the Premier as fast as yesterday. They can't just wait. Yeah. And for me, that is exciting and happy. Why am I excited? Because one, Daikyo is sponsored and the owner loves the sport.
Okay.
We will want to work together to see how much we can get the coastal teams up and running. But it is nice. And let me tell you something that is even exciting me more. Now we have Strathmore hockey pitch available. Impala have offered their pitch. Parklands, we are in negotiations with them. Probably they will allow us to use their pitch, and Dashmesh. So outside City Park, suddenly in Nairobi, we have almost 4 pitches. Nothing can be better for us than that fact, because it means you can actually play up to, if you want, you can play about 10 matches in a weekend.
Yeah.
You get as opposed to
more.
Or even more, exactly.
Yeah.
So it is exciting. Let me tell you something that impresses me especially about Impala. They also have an academy that they're setting up, especially around from the Lenana side of Lenana School. There's a village there, and the youngsters are being coached at Impala. And if you look at that, it is exciting, because it means that now our treadmill or our youth will be taken care of, and the game will grow. Not to mention the national setup that we have on Saturday mornings at City Park Hockey Stadium with Meshach. And Wazalendo, the old club which started this business of academy, has been running its own. Actually, when you look at the Wazalendo team that played on Saturday, you see about 7-8 youngsters. So it's exciting. Yeah. And to us, hockey is just looking up.
Yeah. That's
I don't know whether I digressed, but sometimes when you're excited, you'll find yourself running somewhere.
No, it's okay. And probably we can switch gears and now talk about the national team and the preparations for the Commonwealth Games. But first, all the national teams, both the men and women, were making focus for the East African tournament for the
Northeast Africa.
Northeast
Africa.
Yes. Probably you can tell us what's the way forward now that the tournament was cancelled.
Okay, I'll tell you. Let me first start by giving probably some brief around it, some introduction.
Yes.
Africa Hockey, in its wisdom, decided to zone Africa with a view of increasing the number of teams that participate in their tournament.
Okay.
To that extent, they zoned Africa into Western, Northeast Africa, and Southern blocks.
Okay.
And you can tell the countries which are there. I'll tell you, like Northeast Africa, we start with Libya, we go to Egypt, we go to Sudan, we come down to Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, Kenya, and Seychelles. There are about 9 teams or 9 countries.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, they have always tried to encourage these countries to have a tournament of their own. Fortunately or unfortunately for us, none of these teams have the resources to come and participate in this tournament. When this Northeastern was supposed to take place in May 17th to 21st.
Yes.
Only Uganda and Tanzania expressed interest.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, there's a detail I also want to share with you.
Yeah.
Egypt and South Africa automatically qualify for Cup of Nations. Why? Because they are the best ranked teams from the continent.
Yeah.
You get? But the Egyptian ladies are supposed to have come for the qualifier. They also didn't show up.
Okay.
You get? So it's Uganda and Kenya who confirmed. So automatically they've qualified for Africa Games.
Okay.
In Ghana in June 2023.
Okay.
Not very good news for us because we've missed our tournament. We missed a chance to see our teams, how they size, how they match up against our neighbors. Yeah. So to that extent, we have qualified for Africa Games 2023 in Accra, Ghana. So we are just going back to where we were in January, and where our Zalendo was in November. Okay. Or is it December? Yeah. So that is the status of the tournament.
Okay. And we are going to talk briefly about the ladies team because they are preparing for Commonwealth. But for the men, what next for them? Because they seem to be the training seem to have been on a very high gear. You're going to disband the team, or you're going to have sessions that they are going to take part, just training as a team?
Actually, we have been training. The only time we didn't train was on Tuesday, which was yesterday. Yes, and the reason is the ladies are using the pitch, so we've decided to cede the ground to them because they're preparing for a tournament, for which we don't have a tournament. Our intention as a union is to keep the teams training consistently. Why? Because then you get to have a team of about 50 players, and you can manage the 50. You know, we've been having a challenge, and this is historical. Unfortunately, I'll go back. For a while, this country believed that the national team can only be a maximum of about 20-25. But when you look at our competitors and when you look at what is happening out there, a national team should have up to 50 players. Of course, with the availability of resources. Why am I saying 50? Because sometimes you'll find 6-7 of your players are busy in college. 6-7 of your players are busy with work. So what happens? You excuse those ones and you work with the guys that you've been working with. So the reason why we are consistently training is to build that capacity of 50.
Okay.
So that at any one time, you can just take a block and say, for this assignment, we are going to take this 30 for training, and then we will whittle them down to about 20, and finally 18, and they go perform and come back. But they are part of a larger group of the national team. I don't know if I'm communicating. Now, to that extent, the national team will be consistently training at least during the week for those who are in Nairobi. And if you look at our fixtures, there were slots that were allowed for the national team to train. That is the strategy the union has adopted. I don't know whether
I can see Simon is back. Yes, you are. I can see Simon is back. Probably I can hand him over. Are we back? Are we now live on Facebook?
Unfortunately, we are not, but I have shared all the links to I've shared the links to the YouTube channel, to all our social media platforms. So please click on that link and then you'll get involved with the discussion. Now, Wiki, we've spoken about the national team, about them not having an opportunity to showcase their talents in an international setup. Moving forward as Kenya Hockey Union, what is the plan for the national team? Because we can't stay and wait for international tournaments so that this team can be together, train together, and test themselves. Are there any plans for international friendlies? Are there any plans for, let's say, having friendlies with our neighbors before those tournaments kick in?
Good question. When the tournament for the Northeast Africa was suspended, Africa Hockey allowed us to have a test series. But for you to have a test series, you must go to Africa Hockey and FIH and get a window and permission to host. To that extent, we are negotiating with the Uganda Hockey Association so that we find a window when we can host our tournament. However, look at it this way. What is our greatest problem at this point in time is to prepare the ladies team to go for Commonwealth. Sure. So to that extent, we want to ensure that the ladies go for Commonwealth. When they come back, unfortunately in August, we have Hockey Fives in Egypt, or fortunately. In November, we have the Under-21 tournament again in Egypt. So as you can see, the whole of this year is almost taken care of. So for you to plan for a tournament, again, you need some time and you need to create a window. But Ugandans have no problem with us having the test series. All we need to do is to get a proper window and a proper schedule, and we should have a test series, at least against our neighbors, Uganda.
And looking at Uganda, Tanzania also setting up their structures there. We don't know whether the likes of Ethiopia, Burundi, Rwanda as well have structures there. Should we probably look at having an East African sort of tournament that can be, let's say, biannually? Is it something that you view as the future?
I don't know how much you remember of history. There was supposed to be an East African tournament sometime in Arusha 2-3 years ago. It was called the President's Cup.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember. And Kenya was excluded because Kenya is a senior member of Africa Hockey. Yeah. How many teams went for that tournament? None. And Tanzania were by default the winners of that tournament. This region and Africa at large has a challenge with getting hockey going. And that is a fact. Yeah. The reason is hockey is not a cheap game. Hockey is not a popular game. Yeah. So to that extent, I wouldn't want to limit myself to East Africa. What probably we need to look at is whether we can have more tournaments in Africa, which involve Egypt, Ghana, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and South Africa. That to me is what will make hockey develop in the country or in the continent. Yeah. If we wait for regional, actually we are lucky that Uganda has just come up. You remember Uganda was nowhere in the mix until they started coming for our Western Bloc tournament, and then they created a national team, which is a serious national team because I saw them play in Ghana, and of course they beat us here when they came. Otherwise, Uganda were just not there. What I'm worried about is if the leadership of Uganda cedes control, are they ready? Will the new team take over and take the game to new heights? Again, it's a challenge. But Africa, East Africa, I am finding it being a big challenge, having a useful tournament. Yeah.
Okay, let's now come back home and address the big white elephant in the room. We know we are having elections this year. They were postponed.
But before we go there, why don't we talk about the Commonwealth preparations?
We'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry about that.
By all means.
So we have counties, we have Kenya Hockey Union and elections this year. They were scheduled to be at some time. I can't remember the dates. And yes, and they were called off. Let's start from there. Why were the elections postponed?
The Registrar of Sports stopped, and now this is information I'm giving you. She stopped Kenya Rugby Union, Kenya Basketball Federation, Kenya Hockey Union, and FKF from holding their elections. And the reason is this, that all those 4 sports federations did not have registered organizations within them. So our counties are not registered with the Registrar of Sports. What makes it difficult to register with the Registrar of Sports is because part of the documentation that you need talks to the Integrity Act or the Integrity Chapter within our Constitution. We are supposed to file 5 documents for officials that handle any sporting association or sporting club or county association. And you know them: DCI, HELB, KRA, EACC, and which one is the last one? CRB.
CRB, yeah.
I will tell you, Simon and George, I don't know how much you know about this country, but very few people can get those documents. I don't know that I'm saying in reverse that most of us lack integrity. I don't know. But that is the challenge we are having.
Watu wamechukua loan za Tala mingi.
Exactly.
Nafuliza.
Exactly. No, uje kuchukua si problem. Kulipa ndio.
Kutolipa ndio.
So taking a loan has never been a challenge. But we are supposed to repay the loans. So that has been the challenge. You get? So you get, and I have a myriad of examples where an official, and you know these documents are time-bound. So 2 officials get their documents in order. The 3rd official takes time. By the time they get their papers, these 2 or one of them have expired or has expired. Now, what do you do? So, for a moment, please understand, it's nothing to do with Kenya Hockey Union. It's everything to do with your citizenry. And it's not, like I said, it's not limited to hockey. Rugby was stopped. That is a fact. FKF was stopped. That is a fact. Kenya Basketball Federation was stopped. That is a fact. So what is the common string amongst all these federations? Integrity. It just means that there is a problem with the public.
Yeah.
You get? Now, you and I, you are aware that the union has been, allow me to use this word in quotes, pleading with clubs and county associations to register with the Register of Sports. You know this one. This one I cannot keep. You've seen, you've held sessions yourselves, but there is no traction. So what is happening?
Yeah.
You get?
Yes.
But going forward, because you know we cannot flog a dead horse. It's already dead. We had an executive meeting, we had a council meeting, and it was passed that next season, if you don't have your papers in order, you will not participate in our leagues.
That's for club.
That's
That is
yeah. That's
club
also cause.
and county.
Okay.
That is one. Two, when the Registrar of Sports stopped our elections, she told us, get me 10 county associations, then come and we can negotiate. Whether I'll approve for you, hold your elections. To that extent, we are burning the midnight oil to get our 10 county associations.
How is that going?
But I can tell you, currently we have three counties lodged, whose documents are lodged with the registrar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's music to my ears in terms of you setting the standards, and I keep saying that in this show that as a union, as KHU, you should set standards, stick to them, and let others follow. Because I mean, if you look at the situation we are in, we can no longer say that the counties and the current Sports Act it's in the infancy stage. We can say we are in the toddler phase. The toddler phase is where the counties, the clubs need a hand to hold and show them how to walk. And I'm afraid that we've taken too much time to settle this and make sure things are standardized. We are losing. If we look at it, Wiki, you are a person who has interacted with the sports ministry, with the Sports Act. We are losing. So having passed that, it's a good thing, and I'm happy you've passed that, and it needs to be clear to teams. And I hope that once you've passed that, it's going to get to a point where we say, okay, now all clubs are not compliant, so we have to bend the rules a bit.
It's a good point, Simon. I can tell you, we are attacking this big elephant in using various methods. I have personally spoken to 2 Premier League clubs, actually 3. And I've told them there is going to be an individual letter coming your way. Please get registered. We've started with phone calls or when we meet at City Park. And it's very clear. I'll not name the clubs, yeah, but we have told them if there is no registration, sadly, it will be legal to play the league. Because that is exactly what is happening now. We have illegal clubs. If the registrar is not aware that you exist, I mean, honestly, you are an illegal organization. And I don't want to go back in the 80s where you guys know what used to happen to illegal organizations. So to that extent, we are actually, let me tell you, let's give kudos to 3 clubs. We have 3 clubs which are registered too. The oldest is Wazalendo, the second is Blazers, the third one is Sliders. And it was very easy for them to get registered. Extremely very easy, because they just went in, 2 months down the line, they came with their certificate. And they're up and running, and we are very proud of them. Of course, we assisted them where we could, but isn't that our job?
Yeah.
All that we are asking is just put your house in order. Come, we'll write a letter, cover letter, and take it to the registrar, and you'll get. She's more than willing to register all these clubs, all these counties. But the hurdle is not with the union. The hurdle is elsewhere. The hurdle is ourselves.
Okay. Yeah. Now, a question here from Duncan Simiu. Thanks for watching. Unfortunately, we are having issues with our studio software today. We can't pull up comments from our YouTube channel. We can't post the video on YouTube, but we are having the comments coming through on live on our YouTube page. So if you can go to YouTube and look for the Hockey Republic, or you use one of our social media pages, you will get the link there. So Duncan is asking, with the position as it may be currently, should the union set bare minimum requirements so that the clubs and the county associations and the clubs comply? So he's basically asking, yes, you've passed a resolution, but what are the minimum requirements moving forward? Because we will have new counties coming in, we will have new clubs coming in, but before they can be registered under KHU or under a county, or a county is registered under KHU, Are there some set requirements, minimum requirements that they need to fulfill?
Even now there are. As you are speaking, any new club that wants to join the union, when they write to me, I just give them an Excel sheet of the requirements that they need. So that answer, to that extent, the answer is yes. And of course, part of it is to register with the Registrar of Sports. So no new club will come on board without satisfying that requirement of being registered by the Registrar of Sports.
Now, Jugush, we've been with you in this show and we've discussed this a couple of times when we discuss about where the problem is, how we should handle it, and we've heard from KHU side in terms of they've set the requirements, they've set the standards moving forward. How do you think that clubs will react to this, assuming that Mr. Wycliffe Ongori writes to them and tells them, you have 1 year to comply. Unless you comply, you will no longer be involved in the league. How receptive do you think the clubs will be?
I think the onus is on them because it's not a punishment that they are being given. It is a requirement of the law. And I think when we had our lawyer here, I'm trying to remember her name.
Brenda, I think her name was Brenda.
Yes, Brenda, yes. Yeah. Wycliffe enyewe naona we ni fan wa show.
No. we not fan wa show. We love this sport.
Okay, good. She said that that rule for deadlines had been extended because the first time it was to take effect up to 2013.
2013, yes.
Yeah.
2013, and then again a leeway was given up to I think 2016, and then after that now there was no more of this, and so I don't think this is something that clubs can drag along with it. It's something that we need to just act on it and deal with it, because at the end of the day, what are you hiding for from? Just be honest enough, and that way then they can be able to hold county associations to account, because if you can't tell your county association to comply, yet you yourself you have not complied. So I think it's a good move. Whether or not they comply, they don't have a choice. They have to, because they have taken long nonetheless to comply. And kudos to the three clubs who have ensured that. My main question to Wiki is, how are institutions, universities to be specific, treated with this issue?
And also, if you look at, we have Kenya Police, for example.
Yeah. Afande wenyewe.
Good question. We've asked this question. And in our executive, we have a legal counsel, one Edward Rombo. And the response we got is we have to write to them, and it's for them to respond and tell us that they are registered or how they are registered as institutions. The onus is on them to prove to the Registrar of Sports, through us, of course, that they are legal entities. And they just have a sports department. See now that's different. But since I'm not a lawyer, I don't want to get into areas that the murky area of the legal and legalese. But we will write to them. They are also bound by what the decision we made. But they will take the letter and take it to their legal department, and then we'll get feedback from them. Which feedback we will take the Registrar of Sports. Then we see what comes through. Yeah.
Fair enough.
We are caught.
That's true.
Yeah. Now, Jugush, before I throw it back to you for a break, and then we can come back to discussing this issue. Before you go and address the Commonwealth preparations, a question to both of you gentlemen, and I'll start with Wiki. How can we guarantee that we are seeing the full potential of growth of the sport in hockey, considering that most of the time, or in the beginning, we were measuring growth of the sport in terms of the number of teams participating in the league. But recently we've seen, and I'm sure you are aware of this because you sit in the SG's office and you see a lot of communication coming through your office. There are a lot of teams that are in counties and probably cannot afford to participate in the national leagues. And when I say national leagues, I mean the categorized leagues for men and women. How can we enable these teams and enable these counties to make sure that there is growth in terms of competitive either tournaments or leagues within the counties? And that being said, does it mean that there are some limitations towards going to that move? Because we cannot only use the leagues as a framework to state that the sport is growing.
Okay. Is that my question?
Yes. And then Jugush will also respond to that.
Okay. Now, Simon, that question seems one sentence or two sentences. But let me tell you, it can take us a full weekend to discuss this. But let me respond to you like this. At the union level, we have a strategy from the Coaching and Development Committee. What is a strategy? The strategy is we have what we call long-term athlete development, LTAD. This document or this strategy speaks to this. We are going to develop hockey from counties. How do we do this? We are going to have coaches attached counties, registered coaches, qualified coaches, registered in counties. And these coaches will be linked to clubs around those counties and subsequently schools within those counties. Let's face it, hockey is a sport that has grown through schools, and we thank them profusely for this. Without schools, hockey will never exist. You get? So the strategy the Coaching and Development Committee has taken is to train coaches, attach them to counties, and monitor them from the national office. Now, if you look at what Meshach Senge is doing, that's just but one arm of it. The next county that we have a strategy of going to is the Kisumu County, because we realize that there is enough potential for hockey there. Then we go to Western. Then we cross over, we go to Mombasa. Or is it Mombasa? And then now we come to Nakuru and Kiambu. Are we together? Now, what are we doing? We are trying to establish coaches who come from those centers and coaches who can run those centers. If you remember in the 70s, football used to have Olympic youth centers. It's something akin to that. Now, of course, before you get into this, there are challenges. One major challenge is to get coaches who are willing to come on board and be trained. That is the easier part, because coaches have come on board, we have trained them, and you attended some session in August 2020. Ile FIH, remember?
It was September. August and September, yeah.
Yes, we have not let those coaches go. They are still within our database, and we are working very closely with them. Those are the coaches we've earmarked to run county hockey activities. Now, from there, we will also give them, if they are registered. Now, there is a legal challenge. Before you are allowed to coach youngsters, you must be registered by the relevant ministries. 1, education. 2, sports. You get? So to that extent, we are trying to find a way of them being registered so that now they can go down to schools and deal with academies. Then hockey will become sustainable. Now, where are we now? Document is ready. Nairobi is up and running. We want to get to Western, Kisumu and Western. That is where we are now. But as you can see, there is a plan. I'm not telling you something that has not happened. I'm telling you what is in existence. Problem, time, resources, getting these guys to be registered, and so forth and so forth.
Okay. Okay, Njugush, your view on this?
That's good. I think that's a good thing. Good to see that plan. And for me, I think it's just to see this being rolled out across the whole country, so that this sport can grow to greater heights and just get there. And it's good that and probably I can come in and ask about, are we hoping to see like what happened in 2020 come back again, so that another pool of fresh coaches are being trained, at least get the basic course done over and done with, because I can see a lot of young people who are also very enthusiastic about it, getting into coaching for their lives.
And also propel the current ones that are there. Wiki knows that there are a couple that are stuck. There are a couple that are still stuck in level 2.
Are you pointing? Are you pointing to the wall, to the picture behind you, or you're pointing to yourself?
There are a couple that are still stuck in level 2 and would like to continue, but yeah.
Okay. Can I
yes.
come in and give you what is happening at the moment? One.
Okay.
Good question, George, about fresh coaches. Meshak Senge and Zach Aura were in Nakuru, I think, 3 weeks ago. That's exactly what they were doing. This was a face-to-face, fresh coaches. To that extent, that is happening. Okay, I don't have a report of what happened in Nakuru. My bad, because I probably have been busy. But I can tell you with certainty, they went, they trained. I think it was May 14th or something, or some date. Let me just see from my calendar. They trained in Nakuru because Nakuru requested. Now we will have, I think it was 14th May. We'll have as many as many clinics as is practically possible, depending on availability of resources. So we have no qualms as long as somebody requests and they give us the numbers. We normally prefer a class of about 15 or more. Otherwise, travel logistics does not add up. Yeah. Now, back to stuck in level 2. Now that my good friend Simon is asking about that. 2 things, Simon, that I must say, and we must be honest and very candid with ourselves.
Yeah.
FIH is having some online courses. I know you've done all of them. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
2, coaching is about practical lessons and sessions. But for me to be a level 3 coach, Simon, let me tell you, I spent my money. And I'm not trying to run away. I spent my money. I went to Namibia, tulikuwa na Kimanzi and Tom Olal. We got level 2. We went to Egypt. We got level 3. Sometimes, lazima ujitume.
Okay.
I have not said the union, and nimesema union anywhere there. No, it was personal funds. We went, tukatrainiwa, tukarudi. You can see what Kimanzi is doing. Yeah. Mimi nilidivert nikakuwa TM kidogo, but unajua I'm a TM with coaching ability, but it's not about me today. So critically, what I'm saying is, if there are courses being held anywhere else outside this country, nobody will stop you. Trust me. We are lucky. We have Moses Kagochi, who is a certified FIH trainer, and he's been very active. And I'm sure you guys know he's been training people. We can organize sessions for you to get level 3, which is FIH recognized. Meshak Senge is another FIH recognized trainer. We can use him and we can get some certifications. Teddy Jite, the senior most of them all, is also an FIH trainer. We can organize sessions. The question that we always ask is, where are these level 2 coaches and what are they doing? Sadly, they've disappeared, they've gone underground. But here we are available, we are ready to push them to the next level. The more coaches we have at the top level, the better for the sport. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yeah.
Yes, you have.
Nikiangalia yangu naona nimetik zote.
Sasa Njugusha anaweza take over and aulize maneno ya Birmingham, because
Simon ndiye ajikusanye na watu 49 wafanye level 3.
You know something,
No,
Jugush, that
even 10 wakipatikana, they can do level 3 very, very easily. Actually, the class we had in Cairo, when was this? Was it 2017 when we had Cup of Nations? We were
2017.
We were about 12.
Okay.
Yeah. About 12.
Actually, Jugush, I am aware that the best opportunity is to go to where these trainings are being done. I think Ghana, there was one that was held in Ghana earlier this year.
In January.
They usually hold them whenever there is a tournament. But my question is, I'm not asking so that Mimi Nipate. I'm asking because there are other level 2 coaches that are unaware of how to move forward with this. And it's good Wiki has mentioned about sorry to cut you short. Wiki has mentioned about online courses. There are those coaches who don't know that nowadays you can pay, I think it's around $100, and you can attend those online courses.
Okay, that's nice. Let's move to another department, and this is umpiring. Simon has a very burning question because for which he has been posting. But let's talk about the situation about umpiring in this country, in the sense that there was a training which was to happen. When was it? Sometime over Easter, and people are ready. That WhatsApp group is still active till to date. Now I'm pointing to myself. Are we hoping to see the same, just like coaching happen for the umpires?
Now, interesting question. Umpiring is adjudication.
Yeah.
Hockey has 2 sets of adjudication. One, the guys who run around the field, like some of us who just don't want to stop running. We are hoping that probably we'll get to 60 years running around that field. And 2, we have the technical officials.
Yeah.
These guys work hand in hand. Now, before we started the league, there was a plan to hold an umpires clinic.
Okay.
Something probably you don't know. We have, this country is blessed because we have 2 very senior umpire managers, FIH recognized. 1, Shiraz Yakub. 2, Nation Randiek Colonel, retired.
Okay.
3, we have Tina Agunda, who is a budding umpire manager. These are the people who are qualified to handle umpiring and umpiring training. Unfortunately, when we set up the Easter clinic, both of them were not available, Shiraz and Randiek. I don't know, there were some things, stars refused to align themselves. That's exactly what happened.
Okay.
That notwithstanding, we are working very hard to try and reschedule that training for budding umpires and existing umpires. Up to some of us have to go back to class to be retrained. That is why, and I know I saw that clip of Simon and so you're strong. I said this.
You're tutachunana off air.
Yes, you're tutakutana huko nje. I think you owe me like 6 coffees.
Yes,
but
yes.
We realize actually how many umpires do we have? When I look at that list, now I used to be the treasurer of Kenya Hockey Umpires Association before I became the SG of Kenya Hockey Union. We had up to 60 umpires. Yeah, some have left, some are still on with us. But I'll tell you, umpiring is a tricky career in the sport. Yeah, it's a very, very tricky career because you must be forever reading the rules, you must be forever watching matches, you must forever be having discussions, and getting consistent umpires becomes a bit tricky. But thanks to effort here and there, KHU now we have umpires in Mombasa, and you guys know them. Western, you guys know them. Kericho, we have umpires. Kisumu, we have umpires. We are hoping that we can set up umpires in Kisii, my home. In Nandi, and in Eldoret we do, because we have Peter, what is his name? Peter Kariuki. Yeah. Now, that it did not happen is not very good news for us.
Okay.
But we are working very hard to ensure that that clinic takes place.
Okay.
But Sam, I know you have your question. You can ask. I'll allow you to ask your question today.
But my question is very simple, and by now you know my thoughts, and my thoughts are, and I said umpires are doing a good job. Personally, I try to umpire whenever I get to this high school tournaments and also trainings and friendlies, and it's a difficult job. But what I don't understand is this notion and this attitude some umpires have, that they can be openly biased against a team and get away with it. And if you look at the history, if you look at the record, if you look at the complaints, most of the time they are consistent. And what I'm wondering is, and now the question is to you, how can we this out once and for all? Because a lot of teams are saying it, a lot of players are saying it. For example, they say whenever we go to an away match, it's like they are sure there's going to be some biasness there. So how are we going to do it? And when they say it, it actually happens. So how is KHU and KHUA going to sort out this problem? Because yes, we have umpires, they are sacrificing their time, their effort, and as you said, it's a very, very tricky job to do. And we have a few umpires that are spoiling the name of the other good umpires that are already doing a good job.
Okay. You know, your questions are what do we call them in technology? When I started development or programming, then there was this thing called nested loops. I don't know whether you know them. If
yes,
else,
yes.
else within, if else within, other if else. That's how your questions are. They're never quite. They're not quite straightforward questions. Simon, and let's be very honest and candid. How do we sort the umpire problem in this country? One, we must have more umpires. Let's acknowledge we must have as many umpires as we require, so that in some weekends some umpires are off. How can we get more umpires? We can get more umpires by encouraging clubs to forward names of players who probably might not make it at top level to become umpires. So the first thing, before we, like I always say, before we start pointing fingers, let's challenge ourselves. How many umpires have we proposed and sent to the union for training? The beauty of that is this, and this happens in Wazalendo, even at Wazalendo. Sometimes they come and say, oh, this division. Then tell them, have you read the rule book? When is the last time you read the rule book? I will tell you. Sometimes we make noise, and that is my second point. Sometimes we complain, but to be honest, we don't have a clue of what the rule book says. But that does not mean that umpires don't make mistakes. I can tell you with certainty, even today, I was challenged. Not once, not twice. It is a matter of interpretation. But to a fair extent, our umpires do a wonderful job. But for us to sort it, first, we must have more umpires on board. Two, we must have more regular trainings. Actually, the best is a refresher almost once every quarter. Of course, depending on the availability of umpire managers. And the third one, and very critical, and I will tell you this. When you take the whistle, you must make up your mind what you want. It is pointless to leave your house to go and mess a team or mess a match. It also comes back to your personal integrity. That is a personal challenge to all umpires out there. And I'm not saying that they lack integrity, but it can't be that every other time your complaints will always come from against you or against some region. It is not fair. It means you are not honest with yourself. If you are to wake up in the morning to go and adjudicate a match, and you've set yourself to mess the match, don't go. Nobody's forcing you. I know the match might be cancelled, but for God's sake, just don't go. That's I told you, umpiring is such a complex issue. It's about you as a person, it's about your belief, and it's about you wanting to do the right thing. But let's put that aside. Let's come to the complaints. Let's now address the complaints. Simon and Juguna, are you aware that the rules and regulations have provided for complaints or what we call protests in our rule book?
Yep.
How many protests do we get? I can tell you with certainty, I am yet to receive one since I sat as the SG.
I sent one in 2019. I've never received a response.
Did you write to me?
I was instructed to write to the head of umpiring, the umpires manager. I wrote that email. So
and by the way, I am not trying to defend. You know, sometimes it's nice to be held to account. And you know, if complaints come, okay, I know the process of this book. I know the process of this book states that before 30 minutes before, after the match ends, you need to have paid some amount of money. Yeah, but you can imagine, and you know the law of numbers. If we receive complaints about 2 or 3 particular umpires, isn't that a good way of getting feedback?
Yeah.
Shouldn't those teams which complain actually document that? If not for anything, to come back later and say, hey, union, we look at these complaints. What did you guys do about them? You know, complaining outside is just but one issue. Putting yourself into it and challenging, to me, is the best way of solving issues. You get? And don't forget, like I said, put forward players or members that you want to come into umpiring. And just for the record, you know, sometimes we can talk about umpires and then you think all is bad. Peter Barlow is the best umpire in Africa. I hope you guys are aware. He got an award in Ghana in January this year. Doesn't that say something about our umpiring standard? And I know soon we are going to get another 2 umpires certified with FIH. Doesn't that say something about our umpiring? Of course, like that normal bell curve, there are the leaders, there are the majority, and then there are the laggards. Sinakwa gave the bell curve, the famous mathematical bell curve. There is always the top 5%, then there is about 80-85%, and then there is the 5% laggards. I think at Kenya Hockey Union, that is exactly what we have. But that does not stop us from challenging, from pushing, and from writing. So that even us, we say in a month, we've received 2 complaints about you. What is happening? That to me is the best way to get this thing out of the way. And remember, let me finish.
Yeah.
You know, the sport of hockey has contributed to the video assistant referee in football. Sinikweli. Because we started with the video umpire, and then football quickly realized, oops, this small sport here actually can get this thing going. Why do you think the video umpire came to be? Because sometimes that ball is so fast and there are certain things the normal eye cannot see. So to that extent also, let's give it. Some decisions will not go our way purely because that ball is too fast. Yes.
I've lost train of thought, but let me just pull up one message. And this is Salvo Rollins, who says, when is the team allowed to walk out of a match? And just to tie it in with the rule book, is this available to clubs? Because it seems like players don't seem to have this thing with them.
This one?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Can I tell you the very truth?
Yes.
Teams that came after 2019 are the only teams who don't have this book.
Okay.
Teams that joined us after 2019 are the only clubs that don't have this book.
Okay.
Any other club was given and it was signed for. Now, what clubs do and their succession strategy, we cannot assist. Ukipewa uweke kwa nyumba yako, sasa hiyo tutafanyaje? Now, what are we doing about it? We are reprinting. This was up to 2016, if you look at it critically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are reprinting one for 2022 going into 2023.
Okay.
That is the hard copy.
Okay.
We are also considering, now I must be very careful, putting the same in our website.
Okay.
You can imagine why I'm using the word considering. Because
yes.
even if you put a PDF document online, it can be edited.
Yeah.
So even if we are to put it there, we will not use it as the Bible. We'll only use the hard copy as our Bible.
Okay.
Now, back to the question. When is a team allowed to walk out of a match? Never, ever. There is no time on planet Earth, according to FIH, Africa Hockey, and Kenya Hockey Union, when teams are allowed to walk out of a match. That is why protests are allowed. Finish the match, raise your protest. Because we don't want the game of hockey.
Wiki, I think you should clarify protests. You know, zile protests tunajua ni zile za comrade power.
If you look at this book, there is a paragraph for protest. Let me tell you something. In the Commonwealth Games, they have given us documentation about how the tournament will be run. Within it, they've taken a chapter from FIH, and with that chapter talks about protests. And I can tell you, for you to protest in a Commonwealth match, you have to pay £420, 15 minutes after that match.
Where? Simon, piga hesabu hiyo.
This is not a story. I work in a bank. I quickly calculated. It comes to a figure around 63,000 to about 70,000. In KHU, we say 15,000.
Okay. Yeah. Now, we mentioned
the silence means something.
Tumemention Commonwealth na nilikuwa nimetaka Njugusha uliza hii swali. Now let me ask. Preparations for the Commonwealth game. Good thing that we have this tournament. Good thing that our ladies got that slot. How far are we in the preparations, and how does KHU view this opportunity towards or the opportunity to go to the Commonwealth Games?
Let me start with the latter. I think the Kizungu was taught latter means hii imekuja last.
Yes.
As a union, we are thoroughly excited about this opportunity because it puts us on the world map. Yeah, suddenly we are going to play amongst the best: Australia, New Zealand, yeah, South Africa, yeah. Which is the other team? There's one more.
England,
exactly. England, and then ourselves. I was just going to my documents to check. Nilikuwa nimezifungua jana. It is highly exciting, and we thank God. And I was telling the guys the other day, God loves them because He has brought this opportunity for some people at the right time, at the right age. If they use that opportunity well, they will go places. Their lives will never be the same again, matters hockey. Even matters employment. Because you imagine you are sitting in your office and you see a CV of somebody saying she went for Commonwealth. Wouldn't you look at it twice? Yeah, so sometimes we also want to take advantage of some of these situations. But that is as far as the union is concerned. Let me go to the preparations. 2 weeks ago, let me tell you the date to be precise. 2 weeks ago was when 23rd or 16th, either 23rd or 23rd to be precise. The ladies went to camp, and the camp is at Kasarani. All Commonwealth sports were taken to camp in Kasarani. We have taken 30 ladies. So the Friday before preceding 23rd, which was 20th, we had to whittle down the team from about 40, 45 to 30. Now, interestingly, all these 15 players who were dropped were explained to the reason why they were dropped and the criteria that was used to drop them. Now, so the ladies are in camp. We have how many coaches with them? The ladies have 2 official coaches, 1 team manager, 1 video analyst, and 1 team analyst. I can name the names, but probably not for today. Now, so preparations are ongoing. The other day, which was, I think, on Friday, 27th, yes, they had a BIP test. And I can tell you, the last lady, forget about the goalies, because the goalies are normally not as fit. The last lady had 10.0 in the BIP test. The best lady had 13.6 in the BIP test. And about 6-7 ladies were above 13.
Saimo yako ni ngapi sahi?
Yangu ni 5.3.
Niko mbali sana. Niko karibu hapo. But I'll tell you, okay, if you look at that BIP test, it might not quite give you the detail, because I know 2-3 Olympics ago, when the Australian men went for Olympics, they were doing 18.
Yeah, the last one was 14.
Yes, you get. So to that extent, we know we are on the right track. We know we are giving it our all, and they're having about 4 sessions a day. And they're brought to City Park, they go for lunch, they come back in the afternoon, come evening, then they go back. And I know they're having video sessions. They're having, they've not started having mental discussions, because hockey is about physical, mental, technical, tactical. To that extent, I know either this week that we are in, or next week, NOC will organize for mental psychologists to have a discussion with them. I don't know if I've answered your questions.
Yes, pretty much. Yes,
yeah. We are hoping that in a week or 2, this team will be whittled down to about 25. And that will be probably the final team until we name our final 18 for Commonwealth. The deadline for naming the 18 is July 15th, which is a Friday.
Good. I think we are done with that. Thank you so much, Wycliffe. You have really shed light on a lot of things. I now hope that that is out there. And thank you, first of all, for keeping your promise, because I remember the last time we had you and the president, you promised us that you will regularly give us updates. So I think we've had the state of the union hockey.
That is a new one.
State of the Hockey Union address.
Yes.
That is a new one. But before we go, I can see Duncan is asking a question.
Yes.
To speak to the conflict of interest of someone being a coach, official, and an umpire.
Yes.
You know. Allow me just to address this. I think it's the last one. I don't want to go beyond 5 minutes beyond this. Okay. You know. I don't know where the conflict of interest will come in, but if you love your sport, you will want to know how to coach. Okay. You will want to know how to umpire. You will want to know how to be a team manager. Okay. You will want to know how to manage your club. you will want to know anything and everything about something that you have interest in. Now, as to whether there will be a conflict of interest, I think that is why organizations have structures to ensure that there is no conflict of. What is conflict of interest? Conflict of interest basically means you are benefiting or you are disadvantaging somebody because you are in all these roles.
Okay.
And that is how I wish to summarize that. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I have a very simple question for Wiki before we end. I usually have a small fight with Wiki, and I'm sure after this ataniuliza kwa nini nimemuuliza hiyo swali.
But you know we've come a long way with you.
Yes.
Problem ya wale watu, the guys that have come after you, sometimes they waste you, but it's okay. Such is life.
Yeah, we won't mention. Anyway, Wiki, but the two COVID years, if we take them away and we look at the period you have been as SG of the union, and that period you've been with the union as well as in the executive committee. If you are told to give a scorecard in terms of this is the vision we had when we started and this is where we are, what score would you give out of 5, and what would you say about not being able to achieve and how you're planning to achieve what you had planned out in the beginning?
I think, Saimo, you're assuming also that he is running again, so probably he can tie it in with if he is defending his seat.
That was not my assumption, but he can answer your question. Me personally, it's about the vision they set, the scorecard. Can out of 5, can they say, or can Wiki say out of 5, based on my vision, this is what we have scored, and this is what we have not achieved, and this is what we are planning to do to achieve that.
Why do you want to make me a politician?
It's not about politics. It's about performance review.
No. I'll tell you. Have I not been forthright with you throughout?
Yes, you have.
I will tell you, gentlemen, and this is something you guys need to probably understand. And this is the reality of it all. I offered myself to be SG of Kenya Hockey Union because I knew, I was convicted that I will give my best and I will assist this sport. I have my lessons that I've learned since I became SG. I have my lessons that I've learned since I became a member of the executive committee. The way you asked your question is not possible to be answered directly. And that's what I'm saying. Don't force me to be a politician. The best way to respond to that question is to ask you to set up another meeting where we'll delve into matters hockey. Then we will open for you the Pandora's box that we find ourselves in. I know you want, like I work, you know where I work. You know, we at beginning of the year or towards end of a year, we are told, or you set up your strategy, which is part of the strategy of the large organization. Those are defined issues where parameters are set. It's easy to measure. If you've been a scientist, you know there are those things we call, you hold them constant so that you see the variation of what you are testing. Sindio?
Yep.
Let me tell you why I cannot answer your question. Because all those parameters or variables are always varying. So which gauge are you going to measure? Which gauge are you going to use to measure so that you say, when I set in here, this is what I wanted? Let me tell you, everybody says we've not worked. Come in, sit and see the Pandora's box, the environment in which we work. It is a very harsh environment. And I'm being very honest and very candid. If you go to City Park today, you'll find us building a wall. Sikuna wall inajengwa. I don't know.
Yes, I saw it today.
Behind the football.
Yes.
Do you know the story around that wall? The answer is no. We know. Tunajua tabu zetu. We know our challenges. Sometimes you must make imperfect decisions when you work for imperfect organizations. Okay. When people want to rate you, you wonder which yardstick you will use, because every variable or every parameter is shifting. Sasa utatumia gani? That is why I'm telling you, don't force me to be a politician. Your score of 1 to 5, wewe umetumia gauge yako. I can tell you, it is nowhere.
So basically, after your score to rarue tutupe.
Let me tell you, I have been around, and you know me, Saimo. Yeah. And the part of the reason why I'm here is because you need somebody to come and explain to you that it is easy to start saying this matches this matches that. I'll give you an example. Let me give you an example. Do you know what goes into making our fixtures? I'll explain. And I don't want to, just give me 5 minutes. Before our fixture is set up, you call meeting, you call teams to come and have a discussion with the TMs and presidents. Some come, some don't. Some say we didn't see, some say. So immediately you start having imperfections. Atukuona, nyinyi mnakaga vitu Nairobi, you don't care about others. Squeeze kuna online, so you put online. Some attend, some don't attend. Then in that meeting you agree. Kindly give us your calendar of activities. Tell us when you want to host your tournaments. Tell us when you think you are available. Of course, there are those who will, there are those who will not. And I can tell you the percentage can be as low as 25%. So you go ahead, you do your fixtures. Yes, you do your fixtures. And here, remember, you have institutional clubs and you have universities. You get? So they give you their calendar. And the calendar is honest and perfect. So you do your calendar. Now, somebody else comes and tells you, by the way, I have ladies and men's teams. So if you are sending one team to Western, kindly consider sending both. Isn't that another requirement?
Yeah.
What do? You accede to it and you create that. Then you do your fixtures. Sindio? Let me tell you what happens. Midway, one university decides that now we are closing until after elections. How are you going to have your fixtures running? Another one comes and tells you now that the ladies' team are in camp. NOC has taken over. They are not allowed to go outside the camp. They are in until after Commonwealth. And you had put games for Strathmore, Lakers, USIU, Wolverines. What happens to those games? You see how imperfect some things happen. Then you have a scenario where one team was supposed, some ladies were supposed to go and play in Western. That team has the men's team with them. And they are told you, please, if you're taking us to Western, let us go together. So when you cancel the ladies' team or the ladies' match, what are you going to do to the men's match?
You have to cancel.
So what happens to your league?
Yeah.
So how perfect can you be when you ask me that question? And this is just an inkling of what goes on for hockey to run in this country. So we see when you put a range of 1 to 5, you see how impossible it is for me to tell you 3 or 4 or 1.5, because everything is thrown in the air. Actually, you must be a magician to get that league running. And to this extent, I thank Jen Nyamogo and Engineer Majiwa, because that is their headache. And they are forever receiving postponement, or for this reason or the other reason. And I will tell you, sometimes there are things you will never see. I receive them as the SG, and I look at them and you're like, oh my God. Yes, that is where we are. That is why it's difficult for me to answer the question the way you asked. However, if we make time, we can discuss this matter. We can delve into it, because it is incumbent upon myself as SG to elaborate, substantiate, clarify where we are and why we are where we are, so that people can come up with new ideas. Because sometimes you look at social media, people believe that it's a straight jacket. There is nothing can be further from the truth. There are personal sacrifices which are being made for hockey to be where it is. Actually, let me tell you, God was very gracious with the ladies. They missed a match in Ghana, which was purely not of our making, but they've qualified for Commonwealth. Sometimes they say God can be very merciful and he can actually sort out very many things. We pray that they do well in Commonwealth because it will really sort our hockey.
But at least you can answer one question, Wiki, from me. Are you defending your seat?
Yeah.
George,
Simon
ameniuliza an unfair question. Nimemjibu
Mimi-
wewe unataka
mimi-
sema yako tusikie.
wiki mimi najua nimeshafikisha kahawa kama 7. Siwezi uliza any other question,
Ukinunua tu,
itaongezea kahawa ya
hautahepa,
8.
you'll buy. And the beauty of it is ukikuwa na ile tournament ya Mombasa, just
Yes.
know you owe me.
Yeah.
Tuendelee, George.
I have given him the dates. Before this show, I gave him the dates for that tournament.
That one we have to attend. Sema, George.
Thank you. No, I just wanted to ask you if you're defending your seat. That was all I wanted to ask you.
Unfair question. When it got to elections, I was going to defend my seat.
Okay.
Had we held the elections in April 16th, I was going to defend my seat.
Okay.
Yeah. Have I answered you?
Yes, you have.
Thank you very much.
And I think, yes. Asante sana. It's always a pleasure. One thing I must let our viewers know, you are one guy who keeps your word. And many times Simon and I have called you concerning something, and you always give an honest answer. So I think that is credit that this office has been very open, at least to us, and every question we've asked, we've always gotten answers. So thank you so much for what.
It's the least. It's the least I can do to a sport that I love dearly. Okay. Maybe one day I should bring my father here so that you know what I went through to be what I am. But that's a story for another day.
Yeah, we need to have hockey families back, and I think you are our last guest when you are having that.
Yeah, I remember you called the Ongoris over.
Yes. We need to have it back. But thank you so much. We've had 1 hour 3 minutes of very, very good discussions, and I think a lot of things have been put out there and they're out there in public, and I'm looking forward to having you back here very soon, or rather we are looking forward to having you very back, just to look at the league, hopefully when the league concludes, and also just to take a review of the Commonwealth and some of the things that we said, and also take note of how far we are going with, because you have at least 10 counties to register now. So we are really looking forward to seeing that. I think I will stop there and let Simon close this show.
Thank you very much, Wiki, once again. Thank you to all our viewers. Unfortunately, today we've had technical issues with Facebook and Twitter. We were unable to stream to our Facebook, but we love our fans, so wamefuata link until YouTube. Let me start getting my wallet and ATM, because I know I owe Wiki a lot of cups of coffee. We'll discuss that off air after this show.
Fortunately, it's not beer.
So we'll just have coffee. We'll discuss that Wiki off air after this show.
No problem.
And thank you very much for giving us the status of what is happening at KHU, and I'm sure we'll continue having it, and in case you guys want to ask any questions, you can always approach Wiki. Sometimes it might seem harsh, but whenever you approach him, mtaongea vizuri, and he will ask you some questions as well. Usiogope sura.
Looks can be deceptive.
Can be deceptive. Yeah, you can always approach him pale City Park, send him an email or drop him a message on social media, and he can always respond to that. Yeah, we have league matches this weekend. I think the Premier Leagues are in full swing, so make sure you also log into YouTube or Facebook or whichever social media channel you have, and have a look at Hockey Kenya or Hockey KE for all the updates. We will also be bringing you more updates on the Birmingham tournament. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, see you. Cheers. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.